Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today, first of all, I want to toot my own horn because I remembered to record this video. The last two videos have been 4-week videos because I completely forgot to record. So this is my actual 2-week video. So last time I was 26 weeks. Now I am 28 weeks and a day. And I waited to do the video until today because I had my doctor's appointment scheduled for today. So I wanted to include that in the video. Also, because my husband is at work and I don't like recording the videos when he's home. Because I like to spend time with him. Not, sit back here in the bedroom and ignore him completely. So, anyway. I do want to start off the video with... Whoop, I hit my desk. Let's get back a little bit. I do want to address a question that was asked in my last video. And it was asked by Amy. You're the only person who's asked me a question. So hi, Amy. So the question is basically, have I had any embarrassing or like TMI symptoms during this pregnancy? And the answer to that question is yes, definitely. So from the very beginning, there are a lot of things going on with your body when you get pregnant, and it is a roller coaster. You've got hormones that are pumping through you that, they're just escalating. They're so much higher than they normally are in your body. Progesterone is a bitch. It is responsible for most of the symptoms that you have. Like, progesterone sucks, but it's necessary for your pregnancy. So while you hate it, you need it, so you gotta love it. So I remember, I don't remember how far back it was, but I initially, the first kind of TMI or embarrassing symptoms that I had were burping, and it still is an issue to this day, but it kind of comes and goes. Like, some weeks it'll be really bad, some weeks it won't be so bad. So burping, belching, it's terrible. I will literally be sitting here having a conversation with somebody and just burp. And there's nothing I can do about it. It just happens. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And it's not as embarrassing to me personally. It's not that embarrassing, except for when I'm like in public. Like, I was out with my dad. We went out to dinner and I burped like in the middle of dinner, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, that was kind of loud. That was in public. People in the other tables around probably heard that. And that was really, really embarrassing for me, having that sort of thing happen. The other end of the spectrum, I suppose I could say, is the farting. It happens. You can't stop it. It's either going to come out your butt or it's going to come out your mouth. So deal with it. You have to just get used to it. You deal with it and you move on. When I'm at work, sometimes I'll just, have those moments where you're just talking and I work as a cashier, so I'm like ringing people up, I'm talking, and then boop, there's a little bit of a fart. Oh, if it's not a loud one, I don't say anything. If it's like a loud one and they hear it and it's obvious that they hear it, I usually will say, I am so sorry, I am pregnant, it's something I can't really control, and move on. Basically, you're embarrassed, you might get red in the face, but it's a part of life and you move on. And the other one, it's not really... I don't well, I guess it depends on how bad it is. I personally haven't had a situation that was too terribly embarrassing, as far as, being in public when it happens, but peeing yourself. There have been several moments where, I sneezed and I tinkled a little bit, but I wear panty liners for that reason. Because I don't want to carry, 6 extra pairs of underwear with me every time I go to work. So I have panty liners. So sometimes you'll sneeze, or like a really bad cough will take you by surprise, or somebody will startle you and you'll just tinkle just a little bit. And the little tiny pee doesn't bother me. that much. You know, it's something I expected. People told me it was going to happen. So I wasn't really too embarrassed by it. However, there's one moment that I have, and thank God it was with my best friend and not like, somebody I didn't know very well. But we were going over to her house, and a couple of friends of us, we were all getting together. And we had stopped off and got pizza to bring home with us. And this was at the point where I was feeling a lot of nausea in my pregnancy, and so the smell of the pizza was making me feel really sick. So, and it was in my lap. So she was like, okay, there's a little spot I can pull over coming up really soon. If you can just hold on just another minute, I'll pull over and we can get it out of here. And so we made it, and she pulled over and she grabbed that pizza, took it out of my lap, she put it in the back, rolled the windows down to try to keep the smell from, permeating and continuing to make me sick. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like deep breathing and I'm trying really hard not to get sick. And I'm just like, oh, I think I have to get out. And she's like, okay, go ahead and get out. I thought maybe I just need to get out and get some fresh air. Maybe the pizza was still bugging me. I get out and I'm standing there and I kind of walk off, so I'm not like standing on the side of the road. And I kind of walk off and I'm like, nope. And I get down on the ground and I do throw up. That's not the embarrassing part. I don't consider vomit to be embarrassing. Everybody does it. It's a thing. I'm pregnant. I'm nauseous. Sorry. I threw up on the side of the road. But I peed my pants. Like a lot. I threw up, and the force of that caused me to pee. And so I'm sitting there on the ground, and I'm just like, you've got to fucking be kidding me. And luckily, we were planning on staying the night over at her house, so, I did have an extra set of clothes to wear, and it's not like she couldn't, find me something if it was really necessary, if I really needed it. So, I, stand up, and I turn around and look at her, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, mm-hmm. She's like, what's the matter? I said, I just pissed myself. And she has been pregnant. She has a baby. So she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And so she found, an old t-shirt in the back of the car and threw it down on my seat so that I didn't, get pee all over the seat. And she's like, as soon as we get home, we'll just run straight back to the bathroom and get changed, and we won't mention it to the boys. We won't tell the guys at all. Nothing happened. So, that's what we do is we get back to the house and we come inside and I run back to the bathroom and I get changed. And I mean, I told my husband about it later on, but Loretta, Spot, could you guys please stop? I'm trying to. This is why I don't let you in the room when I record. This is why I don't let them in the room when I record, because they like to play and fight, and they know they're not supposed to do it on the bed, but I'm busy, so they're thinking I'm not going to call them out. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. So I did tell my husband about it later on, and he thought it was fucking hilarious, but yeah, so there have definitely been a few moments and some TMI symptoms and embarrassing symptoms that have come up. Other than that, I think that's really about it for embarrassing symptoms. I mean, there's a slew of symptoms, but I think that's about it for the embarrassing ones, or at least anything that I would consider embarrassing. And most of it is it's only embarrassing if it happens in public. If you're around your significant other, or if you're by yourself, it's just whatever, it happens. It becomes embarrassing when it happens in public, especially if it's in public and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't conceal it, you can't stop it, or if you pee your pants, you're like, oh shoot, I don't have another pair, those kind of things. That's kind of when it becomes embarrassing. And like I said, all you can really do is laugh it off, really, honestly, you're pregnant. And most women who have had children, and even women who have not had children, are gonna be like, okay, I understand, it happens. Just quit. Don't look at me like that. I just threw a skirt at them because they were getting into it again. So yeah, that's really all as far as, embarrassing stuff goes. And just if you're pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant or have been pregnant, something embarrassing is probably going to happen to you at some point during your pregnancy. And you just laugh it off and move along, and people are probably going to forget about it anyway. You probably will forget about it because of your pregnancy brain, so who cares? Just laugh it off and move on. And that's all you can do. So thank you very much for asking your question. I'm sorry I got a little long-winded, I suppose, but thank you, Amy, for asking a question. I welcome questions. Anything, if you guys have anything you want to know, anything you want me to talk about again, anything you think I didn't touch on enough, any questions you have, comments, concerns, anything like that, you're always welcome to comment, and I will do my absolute best to answer either immediately, like in the comment, or in a video if that's what you want. So let's move on to the rest of the video. And I actually wrote down notes today, so I know, because I usually come into it and I'm just like, I don't remember what to talk about, I don't remember what happened, so I wrote down some notes. So we talked about that. So the biggest thing that's kind of cropped up lately, which I've kind of had sort of a little bit before, but it's gotten a lot worse recently, is difficulty breathing. And it's mostly when I'm sitting down, because when I'm sitting, literally I'm sitting in this chair right now. And if I am not sitting like perfectly straight with my shoulders back, my boobs sit on my stomach. So like if I'm not like the perfect picture of posture, my boobs are on my stomach. So everything is kind of scrunched. And so I have a bit of a hard time breathing. So I'll lean back a lot because I have bad posture anyway. So you'll see I like to sit when I lean back when I sit, because it kind of forces everything back and it leaves a little bit of room between my boobs and my belly so that I can breathe a little bit better. And then just like getting out of breath when I'm talking happens a lot more. Like I'll literally be talking and I'll just stop and just gotta get a big breath in, because for some reason I'm having a hard time with the breathing. And that's just because my uterus is getting bigger and my baby is getting bigger and everything is getting compressed and squished, and that's just one of those fun things you have to deal with. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on because I hate the way it looks on the camera because of the glare, so I can't read. Okay. Oh, this was something else that happened that I wouldn't consider it embarrassing necessarily because I was by myself, but I felt like gross about it. I was in the shower the other night, and I was feeling kind of nauseous before I got in the shower, and yeah, I threw up in the shower. It's great. It's gross. It's terrible. And I sat there probably like just sitting in the shower for like 10 more minutes. Just sitting there before I actually like showered. And I guess there's worse places to throw up. Like if I had thrown up on the bathroom floor, I would have had to clean it up. But because it was in the shower, it just kind of washed down the drain. So I guess that wasn't that bad. But yeah, that was not fun. I haven't thrown up in a while in this pregnancy, so it kind of took me by surprise. And I haven't been taking like my nausea pills because I haven't been feeling nauseous. So, and we were out, like we had been out and about. So when we got home, I just like immediately jumped in the shower. I didn't even think, hey, maybe I should take one of my nausea pills, that I still have, because my doctor prescribed me an ass ton of them. And I only needed them for like a couple weeks of the pregnancy. So I still have, like, I get calls from the pharmacy, like, to do my refills. I'm sorry, give me a moment. Come on, guys. Let's go. Get out. Out. Go. Let's go, come on. Get down. Spot, get down. Come on. Go. Go. Get out. Thank you. Sorry. I really probably should learn how to edit videos so I can edit stuff like that out. Or maybe just learn to not let the dogs be in here when I'm recording in the first place. So, I forgot what I was talking about. Shit. Oh, throwing up in the shower. Yeah, my doctor gave me like enough of prescription for like the whole pregnancy, and I only needed nausea pills for like a month or two, and I never even finished my first batch of prescription pills. So they call me periodically to let me know that my prescription is due again, like to refill, and I have not done it once because I don't need it. I'm not going to take something I don't need to have. So we're at the point now. I am, like I said, 28 weeks in a day. So I'm at the point now where my doctor would like me to start counting kicks, which is not an issue so far. He's a very active little boy. And the goal, I suppose, what you're trying to accomplish is you'll sit down at some point during the day where you've noticed that your baby tends to move around a lot. And you'll literally just count the kicks that you feel. And it's any movement, except they don't consider like hiccups a movement because that's an involuntary response that the baby's got. But like a punch, a kick, when they drag their heel across your stomach, when, they jerk this way, when you feel a tumble, a roll, whatever, those kind of motions, you're counting those. And your goal is to reach 10 within an hour. And if you get that, that's great. And then if you don't, you continue for another hour. And if you don't get 10 kicks in 2 hours, you need to call your doctor because that could be a sign that something may be wrong or the baby could be in distress because they're not kicking as much. And there could be nothing wrong. Maybe you just sat down at a time when they just weren't really feeling it. And what you can also do, if you're kind of getting close to your hour mark and they're not moving around, you've only got like 2 or 3 kicks, they do say you can drink something sugary or eat something spicy or something to kind of get them amped up a little bit, get them moving around a little bit more. Currently, I have had no issues getting 10 kicks in that time frame. Usually he's like 10 kicks in like 20 minutes. Like, I'm not kidding. He's an active little boy. And usually, like right now, he's not really kicking a whole lot, but he tends to not when I'm like sitting up. Like when I'm laying back or when I'm like laying back on the couch is usually when I feel most of the kicks. And also because I've been moving around a little bit the last hour, so he's probably sleeping. And that's the other thing is you want to wait until probably like, I'd say probably at least 20 to 30 minutes after you've like settled down and stopped moving. Give them the opportunity to like wake up because the motions of you moving, like if you're walking around, if you are, if you're at work, if you're doing chores, if you're up and you're moving around, the motions kind of sway of the uterus is swaying, kind of rock the baby to sleep. So if he's sleeping, he's not likely to move as much as when he's awake, or she, if you're having a girl. I just keep saying he because I'm having a boy. So that's kind of at this point in the pregnancy, roughly. Now, your doctor may be a little bit different, or, it could be they decide they want you to start counting your kicks once you hit 30 weeks or 32 weeks, or they could decide that you need to start counting your kicks at 25 weeks because you're a high-risk pregnancy or something, So it could be different, so listen to your doctor, but I'm kind of the mind that counting kicks isn't going to hurt anybody. So if you feel like you want to start counting kicks, at 23 weeks when you first start feeling the kicks, or whatever, count the kicks if you want to count the kicks. And a lot of apps have a little, I use an app that has a kick counter on it. So I use that just to easily keep track so I don't, forget to look at the clock or, miscount or whatever. But you don't have to have a fancy app or anything like that to do it. Literally, you can just look at the time and be like, okay, an hour from now I need to have had 10 kicks, and you just count them out. It's not that big of a deal. So if it makes you feel better to count the kicks, count the kicks. If your doctor tells you to count the kicks, count the kicks. I got my doctor's appointment today. I think I mentioned that today was my appointment. I go back in 2 weeks, the day after Christmas, because 2 weeks from today is Christmas. Holy shit. I got to wrap presents. So I went to the doctor, and it was, I didn't see a doctor. I saw a nurse practitioner. But like I said, I think in the last video, I knew that was coming, so I wasn't really worried about it. We weren't really doing anything during this appointment, so I wasn't too worried about it anyway. So I went in, peed in the cup, as per usual. Stepped on the scale. My weight is looking good. I'm increasing at a good pace. My blood pressure is still good. I think it was 108/64. Sounds right. Maybe that might have been what it was. It was something in that range. So that's still looking good. Now my heart, not my heart. My blood pressure has been changing from appointment to appointment. So I'm sure that they are aware of that and have been keeping an eyeball on it to make sure that I'm not like going too high or too low. And as of this present second, I show no signs of preeclampsia. I passed my 1-hour glucose test, so I don't have gestational diabetes. Everything looks pretty good on that front. And today they offered to give me one of my shots. They do think I should get a flu shot, which I thought that they were going to do, but guess not. So if I'm going to get a flu shot, I will have to go somewhere to do it, which I know Kroger will do it for free, and like the health centers I think do it for free too, so I could probably just go and get a flu shot from like one of those places. But so they gave me the Tdap today, so I got my Band-Aid on my arm, and I've been forewarned that my arm might be a little sore tomorrow, or over the next couple of days, I guess. And they said that they like to do it typically around this time, and that what it does is it protects you and baby from the whooping cough, basically, is the main thing. Pertussis, I think, is what it's actually called. But the whooping cough is the more common name. So I went ahead and I got the Tdap shot today. And they did encourage my husband to also get the Tdap, just because he's going to be handling the baby. So they recommend anybody who's going to be close to the baby like regularly probably should also get the Tdap. And they said that the health centers will do that for him. So maybe we'll go and get him a Tdap and we'll both get our flu shots or something. But yeah, baby looks good. I mean, I'd say looks good. We didn't do an ultrasound, so we didn't see the baby today. We'll do that next appointment. But they did listen to his heart rate, and it's in the 140s. Sounds good. It's strong. There's no like weird blips to it or anything. It's just a very good heartbeat. Well, not heartbeat. It's a very good, heartbeat. And they asked me, obviously is he moving a lot and all that good stuff, and making sure that there's nothing, no issues with that. So everything looks good there. And then some of the other things that have kind of been going on, moving away from the doctor's appointment, because that's literally all that it was. Literally, I walked in, I peed in a cup, they gave me a shot, and we listened to the heartbeat, and that was my appointment. So I've kind of been experiencing some mild nesting. I say mild because it kind of comes and goes. Like, I'm not ready to scrub the house down from literally top to bottom, every single room. But I have my days where I'm like, you know what I need to do? I need to clean out that closet. You know what I need to do? I need to go organize the Tupperware in the kitchen. And I went and I cleaned the baby's room the other day. I swept and reorganized and moved everything around and dusted everything and, put a sheet on the crib mattress and all that stuff. So it comes and goes. Sometimes I'm just like, I really want to clean the house. The other problem though is that sometimes it comes and I really just don't have the time to do it. So I think probably as I get closer to my due date, I may have an increase in my nesting tendencies. And which that's not necessarily that's not a bad thing. Like, hey, it's giving me, I have the motivation to clean my house while I'm X amount of months pregnant or X amount of weeks pregnant or whatever. Right on. That's pretty cool. And then I have been having some Braxton Hicks. And if you don't know, or if you've never heard of it before, a Braxton Hicks is basically, they're also called false contractions. And they're called Braxton Hicks, I guess, for the guy who discovered them or figured out that they weren't real contractions or whatever. So you are more likely to experience Braxton Hicks, false contractions, if you are dehydrated, and I guess if you're really active. And when I've been feeling them has been when I'm at work, during busy periods. I'll get, and the way you can kind of tell the difference between a Braxton Hicks contraction and a real contraction is that if it's a real contraction, it's going to start out, maybe mild and get stronger. As time progresses, they're going to continue to get stronger, as well as continue to get closer and closer together, and they're going to be pretty regular. A Braxton Hicks may be kind of all over the place. You may have a really bad one, and then not so bad, and then a not so bad, and then a really bad one, and they may be really close together, and then far apart, and then really close together, and far apart, and a lot of times people also describe them as they're just not as painful as regular contractions. And a lot of times they say they just feel like maybe like period cramping, or you just feel like a little bit of a tightening. And if you don't know what you're looking for, sometimes you may miss it. And so I've been having just a little bit of like cramping that kind of comes and goes in a very erratic way. So just a little bit of that. And that's probably, she said, it stems from probably either me being dehydrated or me moving around a lot, or a combination of both. And as long as, they don't start to be real contractions, I'm good. We're fine. And you can start having Braxton Hicks. I think they said usually around this time you can start to have them. And the closer you get to your due date, the more likely it is that you're going to have them a little more frequently. But you still should be able to tell the difference between a Braxton Hicks and a real contraction. Because like I said, if it's a real one, it's going to continue to just increase in intensity and continue to get closer and closer together. And I know once I start having real contractions, that once they get to be about 5 minutes apart consistently is probably when I need to go to the hospital. I also know to watch for losing my mucus plug, which the mucus plug is literally a mucus plug that blocks off your cervix to prevent infection from getting up there, and any harm or anything coming to the baby or causing any infection or anything like that in your uterus, in your cervix area. So it's a protective barrier, and one sign that labor may be near is losing your mucus plug. Now, that being said, you can lose pieces of your mucus plug, and I've been told apparently you can lose your mucus plug more than once in the pregnancy and it grows back, I guess. But what you're really looking for is the bloody show, I guess. And I'm saying I guess because I've never done this. So this is just based on things I've been told, things I'm seeing on these mommy groups I'm in. This is stuff that I'm hearing. So these are the things that I'm preparing myself to watch for. So I'm preparing to watch for the contractions that are getting worse. I'm prepared to watch for the bloody show, which is basically when you lose your mucus plug or you lose pieces of your mucus plug or whatever, and there are little streaks of blood in it. And I'm not talking like a big gush of Niagara Falls blood. Like that's not normal. If that's what happens, you need to go to the hospital immediately. Just little streaks, little tinges of blood in the mucus, like nothing crazy. And that's called the bloody show. And that's a sign that labor is really close. So the contractions, the bloody show, your water breaking, which I don't remember the number, but I know that the number, like the percentage of women whose water actually breaks is pretty low. It's actually not that common. Definitely not as common as they make it seem in the movies. A lot of women end up having to have their water broken by their practitioner. But that's something to watch for if your water does break. And if your water breaks, it could be a big gush. It could be a trickle. You could spring a leak. So once again, it's not the same way as it is in the movies where it's a big dramatic moment and, there's water all over the floor all of a sudden. And another thing to watch out for, if your water breaks, sometimes you might have just peed yourself, is what I've been told. So if you think maybe your water broke, something is I think it sounds kind of gross, but basically like smell it. And because I guess the amniotic fluid isn't really going to have much of a scent, or it's definitely not going to smell like pee. But if you peed yourself, it's going to smell like pee. But when in doubt, go to the doctor. Ooh, why did we get blurry? When in doubt, go to the doctor. So if you're concerned about anything pertaining to you and the baby in the pregnancy, if you've got decreased fetal movement, if you've got a lot of blood, if you think you're leaking amniotic fluid, if you think your water broke, if you think you're having contractions, go to labor and delivery. Worst case scenario, they will tell you everything is fine, go home. Well, I won't say that's the worst case scenario, but you may go, it's better to go and it be nothing than to not go and it be something. So if you think that there might be something wrong, even if you just have a feeling that something is wrong, go. because I would way, way, way rather you go and be disappointed that you got sent home than to find out that there was something wrong and nothing came of it. You know, you didn't go to the doctor, you didn't go to labor and delivery. And if you're worried about going to labor and delivery, call and tell them what symptoms you have, and they will tell you if you can worry and you need to come in or not. But most of the time, they're going to tell you, if you're worried, come in. So that's my big piece of advice for this video is, it is your pregnancy, it is your body, it is your baby. If you think something is wrong, go in. Call. Get somebody's opinion who knows and who has dealt with pregnancies for years. You know, the labor and delivery nurses and the staff and at the OBGYN's office, everybody, they have dealt with it. They've seen it all and nothing phases them. If you're worried you're going to upset them by calling them, put that worry out of your head, because that's what they do. It's their job to make sure your pregnancy goes as smoothly as possible, but they can't do that if you don't tell them what's wrong. So that's my piece of advice. Please take it if you don't listen to any other thing that I say. So that's going to be all for this video. Like I said, I go back to the doctor in 2 weeks, which is the day after Christmas. So I'm not sure. I'm sure that's going to be pretty hectic time, so I don't know if I'm going to get that video quite on time or not. To be determined, I suppose. So I'm going to go and probably go clean something because I'm kind of having that urge. So if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. If you want me to answer in video, let me know. If you want me to just answer it in the comments, just ask the question and I'll answer in the comments. You know, I'm a pretty open person and I feel like I'm a pretty nice person. So you don't have anything to worry about if you think I'm going to be mean. I'm not. I'm not a mean person. I don't like that. I don't think that's fair. And I know that pregnancy is scary and there's a lot of stuff going on with your body that you may not be used to. And if there's anything I can do to help alleviate some of your stress or worry or make you feel like you're not alone, then I would absolutely love to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and go. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.